Dude here, coming to you on another day. Okay, right the day after the State of the Union address. I got Java, so just give me 1 second here. Java. So needed. Okay, so looking at the specs, Trump's address was not the absolute longest. The longest was Bill Clinton in 1995. Trump's speech, though, was 82 minutes. So that's pretty freaking long. Okay, from north to south, essentially he addresses everybody. Now, I'm going to probably break it down by paragraph, because, 82 minutes of speeching. That's a lot of getting into it, nuts and bolts, breaking it down and whatnot. This is going to be a verbal, read like audio version of a podcast. Okay, if you guys don't like that, just tune out. If you are into it, just kick back, crank up the volume, and you can do other things while you're listening to me prattle on. So anyway, essentially what it is Trump, I think, tried to be more libertarian than he tried to be Republican or Democrat or anything along those lines. He did pull some punches, but there's other times he pretty much let him have it. Now, I'll break it down for you, nuts and bolts and good stuff like that there. So anyway, basically saying the agenda layout this evening is neither Republican agenda or Democrat agenda. It is an agenda of the American people. Okay, that is it in its major, minor, simplest extent you could possibly drag from this. This is the President of the United States addressing all Americans. Many of us have campaigned on the same core principles to defend American jobs and to demand fair trade for American workers, to rebuild and revitalize our nation's infrastructure. Yeah, and I got a major problem anytime they say they're going to do this thing for infrastructure. That describes that they could do any flipping thing they want, spending money anywhere they want, and being utterly stupid in the process of pissing away too much cash. Infrastructure stuff is bad juju, dating back to the days of FDR. Blech. To reduce the price of healthcare and prescription drugs, and to create an immigration system that is safe, lawful, modern, and secure, and to pursue a foreign policy that puts America's interests first. Okay, this is nothing new. This is what the guy ran on. This is nothing like,
oh, Donald Trump is so pejorative, he's pulling all these things out of the ethers, he's being blah, blah, blah.
No, guys, no. This is stuff that we knew he was going to do. There's a new opportunity for American politics. If only we had the courage together to seize it. Okay, that is a slap in the face to the Democrats. What he's saying to them is very simply, guys, you are playing obstructionist. We know that the southern border is porous. We know that all kinds of stuff is going on. When you bust somebody coming across the border with 250 pounds, whatever it is, of fentanyl, okay, you got problems. Donald, you need some pronunciation practice, sir. It is not fentanyl, it is fentanyl. Anyway, America will recognize two important anniversaries to show us the majesty of America's vision and power of American pride. Okay, now this is one of these things I really don't like when they express it as such, because pride goeth before the fall. You can be taking great pride in something and short-seeing yourself from those things that really truly are right out in front of you going,
Hi, oh, ow, 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 oh, ow, please stop.
Okay, the majesty of America's vision and the power of America's pride. Okay, I'm nuts and bolts on this one, okay? I mean, it's neither here nor there, in or out. It kind of rubs me both ways. Yes, it's showing us as having a good mantra of saying, this is the way we do stuff because we are Americans. I get that, okay? That's cool. But you can't be a bunch of cocky a-holes running around the planet going, see? We're the guys with the biggest schlong. You have to pay attention to us.
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
Not cool. But what he did do is he dramatized this perfectly. In June, we marked 75 years since the start of what General Dwight D. Eisenhower called, quote, the Great Crusade, end quote. And I didn't know about that. It actually was news to me. And I'm a student of history. The Allied liberation of Europe in World War II. On D-Day, June 6, 1944, 15,000 young American men jumped from the skies and 60,000 more stormed from the sea to save our civilization from tyranny. It really is kind of a sad state of affairs that Adolf Hitler never met the Bear Jew from the Inglourious Bastards. It would have been a lot of fun.
Don't you know who I am? I'm Adolf Hitler!
Shut it, you socialist, fascist butt puke. The Bear Jew. Slight problem there. If you look at history, it wasn't really the guys in Europe jacking with us. It was more the case of the Japanese kind of smacking our PPs back in December 7th, 1941 in Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. That was pretty much where, if you even want to stretch it to the nth degree, that was actually where the war was brought home to us. And that it wasn't even like a true case of the war was brought home to us. That was more like the Japanese were like,
Okay, we're sick of this naval blockade crap. We are gonna slap you upside the head.
but if you guys know your history, the Japanese did something you don't do. They hit us without a declaration of war. FDR said it best, a date that will live in infamy when they struck us with no war declaration. And if you guys know your history, Aoyasu Yamamoto said, I fear that we've woken a sleeping giant and filled him with a horrible resolve. Yeah, that's a good quote, okay? That's one of those ones that if you know history, that's a really good quote. Here with us tonight are three of those incredible heroes: Private First Class Joseph Riley, Staff Sergeant Irving Walker, and Sergeant Herman Zaitchik. And this is one of these kind of cool things that Trump always does. Gentlemen, I salute you. That is how it should be said, not just,
Hi, thanks for coming by. It's really spiffy of you guys to come on by and hang out with us tonight.
No! You pay them homage to their wonderful sacrifice and that duty that they gave to God and nation. In 2019, we'll also celebrate 50 years since the brave young pilots flew 1/4 million miles through space, and this is really kind of typed up weird. It's not correct. The plants of the American flag on the face of the moon. Now, it should be to plant the American flag on the face of the moon. Half a century later, joined by one of the Apollo 11 astronauts who planted that flag, Buzz Aldrin. And Buzz is like 89 years old. He's looking a little worse for wear, but he was all there last night. Thank you, Buzz. This year, the American astronauts will get back to space in American rockets. Not with the way NASA works. It's going to be SpaceX or it's going to be something else, but it is not going to be NASA, okay? NASA, okay, let me pull back the curtain for you guys just a little bit here. One of my friends is a high muckety muck, say like a head engineer in Sikorsky. I'm not going to give his name, but he's a high muckety muck, and he does that stuff daily to get our birds flying the best that they can with the rotor head type of stuff. So Sikorsky helicopter, one of my best buds, is a PhD that works as an aerospace engineer for Sikorsky. He told me that he went over to NASA, and he put this thing down, and he put it in a vacuum chamber, and they were going to test it. And the guy goes, so what should I run it up as? He goes, run it up to about 70% of potential. Oh, okay. So Fumble Futz goes, all right, and goes, that's not high enough. Nope, that's not it. And proceeds to redline this thing at about 120%. Now, mind you, this thing was only supposed to run at 70%. So my friend looks at this thing that's now going, flopping around and not doing so good. And he calls his boss. And he goes, boss, here's the story. Dude, put the thing in the fixture, and I said 70%. He ran up to 120%. Now what? Boss goes, well, you know what? 120%, it's been exceeded on its test medium. It is FUBAR. That's a piece of trash. Throw it in the garbage. Come on home. Your job is done here. And that's the kind of FUBAR morons that you got working at NASA.
Oh, we're so worried about the environment. Let's fart our satellites around and look at clouds.
No, that's not your job, okay? Your job is to take guy, get guy off planet, put guy on other planet. That is your job. Take space thing, fly it off into space, go to another planet, take a look-see. That is your job. Not some Democrat / liberal / screaming Mimi kind of mindset to go,
oh no, the planet's coming to an end. We're all FUBAR. Ah!
That is not your job. In 20th century, America saved freedom, transformed science, redefined middle class. When you get down to it, there's nothing anywhere in the world that can compete with America. Sort of. The Chinese actually are manufacturing giants, kind of like some which we saw the Japanese doing. Kind of picking up in the 50s, like, post-World War II, where they were really just making their country much more than what it was previously, and, well, they're good like that. They just really are really resilient people. That said, they are not innovators. They are thieves. They take your stuff, and then they take that, and they go with it further. Now, in the innovation side of things, once they've got the technology, well, duh. Then they get better at it, and then they steal the other technology to get better at it, and then they finally have some innovation relying on the technology they stole from somebody else. The intellectual property theft from the Chinese is freaking-leavable. So anyway, let's go a little bit further. Let's go to make communities safer, families safer, culture richer, and faith deeper, blah, 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 blah. Together we can break decades of political stalemate. I don't see that happening with the Democrats as it is. We can bridge all divisions, heal old wounds, build new coalitions, forge new solutions, and unlock the extraordinary promise of America's future. Not with a bunch of political hacks the length, depth, and breadth of the Democrat Party. They will die first before they budge. The decision is ours to make. We must choose between greatness or gridlock, results or resistance, vision or vengeance, incredible progress or pointless destruction. Tonight, I ask you to choose greatness. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I see the Democrats sticking to their guns, I see them screwing themselves, and I see them getting hosed next election. Believe that. They will dig in their heels. They will do anything possible to keep from changing up, changing the status quo, doing anything different. They don't want Trump to win at all. They know for a fact if he does anything that is paramount and completely a new paradigm to make things work better in this nation, long view, they're hosed. That's right. Over the last 2 years, my administration has moved with urgency and historic speed to confront problems neglected by leaders of both parties over many decades. Well, that's true. That is very, very true. Political interlude. There's nothing but nothing going on in D.C. unless it's politically motivated by some lobbyist or whose money's going into whose back pocket, when, where, and how, or there's the one party saying we're not going to let the other party succeed. And then, of course, there's that whole thing about the Republicans constantly going and butt-sucking at the moment's notice because they have no
balls of steel.
Yeah, that's right, Duke. They got none of that. They have none of that at all. I'm Dude, and I stand by everything that just got said. Dagnabbit. If they had a set of,
balls,
yeah, that would be glorious, but they do not have
balls.
Wages are rising at a fast pace, decades growing for blue-collar workers who I promised to fight for. Well, duh! I mean, that's the other thing, too. The biggest problem is, unfortunately, is a lot of our blue-collar stuff has gone overseas to other manufacturing bases in other countries. Why? Too much regulation, too much taxing, too much of everything to hold back the wheels of progress by politicians. Pick a party, doesn't matter, they all do it. The U.S. economy is growing almost twice as fast today as when I took office, and we are considered far and away the hottest economy anywhere in the world, not even close. Unemployment has reached the lowest rate in over half a century. African American, Hispanic American, Asian American unemployment has all reached the lowest levels ever recorded. That is numbers that the Democrats cannot combat or even seek to obfuscate. That is real poop. They cannot stop. Unemployment for Americans with disabilities has reached an all-time low. Okay, well, that's great, but you know what? That's kind of a shaded number. It really doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. But the thing is, this is a State of the Union address. This isn't so much a political rah-rah thing. It's pretty much saying, hey, I'm going to inspire you guys in Congress and Senate to do your freaking jobs, and I'm going to give you a State of the Union. No great, happenstance on that one. Let me explain to you how the country's running. I'm the guy that basically is the head executive. This is how it is. Okay, I guarantee you Donald Trump has had this exact speech 50 freaking bazillion times, doing it in his own industry, doing it to a bunch of people who are investors, doing it to a bunch of guys who are stock guys, doing it to, well, just doing it. I mean, that's pretty much what the guy does. My administration has cut more regulations in a short period of time than any other administration during its entire tenure. That's cool. But they hate the fact he's saying that in front of everybody on public notice and available for everybody to look up later. Politicians want regulations. It gives them reason, it gives them ability, it gives them power. It's what they do. They regulate. There's no reason for them to stick their nose into something other than if they control it with a power base of their own making. They are the problem. Too many politicians, too much time, way too much money for them to spend on wrecking our ability to stop them from doing these things. That is regulation. Companies are coming back to our country in large numbers thanks to a historic reduction in taxes and regulations, and we unleash the revolution in American energy. This is good poop. The United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world. And now, for the first time in 65 years, we are a net exporter of energy. After 24 months of rapid progress, our economy is the envy of the world. Our military is more powerful on Earth by far, and America is again winning each and every day. Members of Congress, the State of the Union is strong. Okay, I got 3 things to throw at that right now that most people really aren't even considering. Number 1 is our overarching debt. We have so much money owed to the Chinese. The Chinese economy is pretty much ready to go into, it's going that way. Also, the other problem, too, is also the case of we have way too many people who are still on the public dole. And I don't care what you say about, like, retirees and whatnot. Social Security was never, ever intended as a way of retirement where we are paying all the money to them. Crunch the numbers. When the baby boomers retire, 3/4 of our yearly GDP is going to go to Social Security. It is an unsupportable Ponzi scheme. There is so much money that has been paid in, yanked out, pissed away, and now it is not in the quote-unquote virtual lockbox with a bunch of don't need to utilize it IOUs that have been thrown at it just in case. The Congress and the Senate are all guilty of this stuff. And the third thing is, why are we still the world's policemen? As long as we got people sleeping on the street who are veterans, as long as we have people who are homeless, as long as we have people who need more assistance than others, there is no reason for us to be throwing money at other countries all around the planet. Screw them, man. Screw them. And I really want to cuss here. Our country is vibrant. Our economy is thriving like never before. Friday's announced another 304,000 jobs last month. Okay, all this employment stuff is great. The only thing is what kind of jobs are we talking about? The problem is now is also all these guys in Congress and Senate are not being proactive, okay? They're not seeing a situation where, okay, maybe now the tax situation is not so good. Maybe we need to get rid of the IRS. Maybe we need to get rid of income tax. Maybe we need to be more of a consumption tax where people can take their money, stash it, make their retirement happen, as opposed to the government taking it away and giving them a pittance in return. If you took that money that you had in Social Security and reinvested it yourself, and you used the best way of investments, you would have way more money than the government could ever generate with this weak-minded, we know what's better for you than anybody else type of way, shape, and form. Okay, most of these guys in Congress and Senate are not broke, okay? There's a reason why they're not broke. It's because they come out and they get rich being lobbyists and all the rest of that fun, happy falderall. They are fine. They don't need to worry about having a rich retirement. And that's the other thing, too. Anybody that served in Congress and Senate one term gets a lifetime retirement. Why? Why? Why does Congress cost $1 billion a year? Why does each congressman have 20 or 30 members on their staff? Why does each senator have ridiculous amounts of infrastructure? Why do all these things exist? Why did they make a piece of legislation that is 3,000 pages long that they didn't even read? And only somebody on their staff goes, yes, this is good or bad, sign for it. No, this is crap, okay? This stuff needs to have its day in the sun where people go, you know what? Enough. All right, I can scroll on through this thing, and there's bazillions more stuff here. And of course, he paid homage to a bunch of people. You know, the little girl that had cancer. The guy that survived the shooting in Pennsylvania was a survivor of the Holocaust. The one guy was a survivor of the Holocaust in Dachau. The gentleman did the drop with the paratroopers. Actually was one of the guys that emancipated him in Dachau. All good stuff. I mean, all these guys coming out of the woodwork and all them doing their stuff. Buzz Aldrin. I mean, come on. It was a very good get-together. It was an awesome speech. And yeah, all you screaming, meme Democrats, I cannot tell you how many times the camera flashed over to Kamala Harris and she's like looking like the cat that sucked on the lemon while somebody stuffed the phone pole up its tail. She did not look happy, and oh man, it was glorious. All right, so I'm not gonna make this one too terribly long, but folks, I gotta tell you what. For a State of the Union address, this one was absolutely out of the park, good stuff. And you know what? Trump did a hell of a good job. And anybody that really can find anything that he said not good, okay, you can try to pick it apart all you want to. Most of it was inspiring to tell the guys in Congress and Senate, just do your job, okay? Just do it. All right, folks, I'm going to break up with this one. It's already like a 20-minute long video. I don't make this thing too terribly long, but I thank you guys so much for all your kind attentions. And I'm going to break up with this one. And, well, like I usually say, eat good, keep it tendering as always, always. You know what? You love it. And you know what? Trump did a really good job here. I think he did just fine. I think the speech was very, very well written. And I think the presentation on it was just great. Very nicely done, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to break up with this one. See you guys.
What about the shrieking ice shelf? How the
No, it's polar bears, not panda bears. Polar bears. You weenies. Get out of NASA! See you guys.